Computer. Awesome. We are recording. Welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Jaime Chapman. I am the CEO of Begin Within, and today's guest is super special, and I wish I would have known about her business a few months ago whenever I was getting ready to PCS from Germany to Texas. This is CC Gallagher. She is the founder of Military Quality of Life Consulting and of the Stressless PCS Kit. And she is a sought after expert in quality of life for military families. And I won't steal her thunder anymore. I'll let her tell you about herself. CC, why don't you give us the spiel, tell us about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then we will jump in with your tips for our military spouse and veteran audience.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and good morning, because I think I'm an hour behind you in mountain time frame here. But I appreciate you having me. My name is Christine Gallagher, but I go by CC, and I am the president of Military Quality of Life Consulting and a newly launched product that launched in January called the Stressless PCS Kit. I am an entrepreneur, an Army spouse, and a proud mother of two highly mobile military kiddos. We have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old boy, and they've lived at multiple installations in their short lifespan here. For us, through 6 moves in the last 10 years of marriage, I've had the opportunity to work across multiple industries, including teaching and higher education, running national nonprofit programs and government relations efforts for 2 of the nation's leading military service organizations. I've served as an IT project manager and defense contractor, leading the Department of Defense's Military Spouse Employment Partnership Partner Portal and the Transition Program for Spouses. And for me, because it is so difficult to maintain employment through all of our PCS moves, I added entrepreneur to my resume. So Military Quality of Life Consulting came out of a really, really challenging PCS and a heavy-hearted resignation letter to an organization I really wasn't ready to leave when we left the DC area. And at the time, handing in that letter truly convinced me to do something to help the countless spouses and families in similar positions who are really struggling to maintain consistency in this military life. So with Military Quality of Life Consulting, I have worked with about 13 different clients that include federal government contractors, national nonprofits, national brands, and foundations to equip them to greater fulfill their mission of serving our military in terms of corporate responsibility, corporate philanthropy, and strategic communications and cause marketing. And so this last year in January of 2020, I expanded the mission of MQOLC and really to directly serve our military families with a new product offering called the Stressless PCS Kit. And it's an all-in-one labeling system to help you organize your move from one home to the next. So that hopefully that gives you a little bit about me. We are currently stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas in El Paso. This is the first time we've been here, but it's a really neat city and a great Army community.
I am so close yet so far. I am in Fort Bliss, Texas. We were gonna, I believe, get stationed at Fort Bliss for 5 seconds, and then of course things change as they do. I have in front of us, I have one of the famous Stressless PCS kits. I have bought 2 of them right after my own PCS game. But I wanted just to show you kind of one of the pieces. I'm just going to pick one and grab one and pull it out.
You got it.
So this is like a sticker sheet, and it's got it says living room, and it's got like some slots where you can write crap on there, because it's never like the living room is together with the dining room and stuff is separated, and you lose every time you move, you lose stuff. My husband and I, we've only been married for 4 going on 5 years. And we have moved, this is our 4th move.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's funny, like we've been married for 4 years, we've moved 4 times, but we were in the same spot for 2.5 years. So those other moves were all back to back.
But a move is a move, and they're not easy regardless. You know, they're all very difficult, and they all look very different each time.
So this is, I think, a needed, like your expertise generally is kind of military family life, which is really heavily focused on how come we move a lot, right?
Right.
And so the Stressless PCS Kit, I like it. I'm a fan of it. And I've already given one out as a gift and plan to just continue to do that when my friends move.
Oh, you're so amazing. And I really appreciate your support in that, because what's happening, at least what I'm seeing in the sales of the product, is I have two different clienteles, what you will say. So B2C, so the consumers are military families. So I have families who purchase them from all over the world. It's incredible. There was a spouse who purchased one from the North Pole up in Alaska last week. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a real place called the North Pole. This is incredible. So I have spouses and families who purchase them, but then I also have businesses such as yours who purchase them to provide to military families within their ecosystem. And so what I love is that it's a product to help them streamline a move. It's something that will create more accountability with the moving contractors, or if you're doing a do-it-yourself move, it helps you stay organized with how you want to label the boxes as well. So there's a lot of benefits in using a system such as this. And that's the main reason why I created it.
Well, and just having moved in May and didn't get my
Very
stuff,
recently.
it's not like you pack your box and the next day it's there. I moved from Germany to Texas, so we had to wait for 2 months for our things to get there. And of course, you don't recognize anything.
No.
So
No.
new stuff, and this is really cool. So
Good.
let's talk about in general.
Okay.
Military spouses move a lot.
Yes.
Career-wise, we also move a lot.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of tips might you have for military spouses that are watching today on moving your career, moving your stuff? What are your kind of top tips for military spouses?
That's a great question. Hopefully I can hit in a variety of different areas here. But as a spouse, we'll start with the career side. I've had 5 jobs post-graduate school just based on where we've gone, where we've moved, the opportunities of where we are. And where the military and Army takes my husband and his job. And I got so fed up with it. That's why I started in working and building my own business because of that. It was so turbulent for me, and I needed to find more consistency. So for spouses out there who are thinking about starting your own business, I would look at different resources in the entrepreneurship space. I find a group like the Rosie Network they have chapters at different installations, but they also have great curriculum and resources. And they even have a place where you can post your business to sell your services or goods right on their website. So definitely check them out. Another program that I have leveraged for many, many times in a variety of areas is Military One Source. They have career coaches that focus on not only your career. So if you're looking to transition to a new position or update your resume or develop a federal resume, they have career coaches that can do that, but they also have coaches who help in entrepreneurship to help you set plans and goals and to help you do an assessment to figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are. And so I've worked with the same coach for over a year to help me really define where I want to go with the business and really set those month-to-month goals with her. So that's been incredible. But the other piece on the career side is, and this is just personal advice and something that our family, my husband and I, really try to encompass in our conversations, is defining success and what that looks like. And it looks different every installation that we've gone to when we've added children to our family, or if there's a deployment or a long TDY or temporary duty. So we constantly redefine what success is all the time. And open communication has been key to what has gotten us to where we are right now, both within his position within the Army, but then also for me with my growing business and opportunities serving clients in that way. So I would say those are some key maybe key tips for the career side. For the moving side, because it's so different, but I am a type A planner. It helps me keep control in a life that feels so out of control, right? So I'm the type of spouse who takes inventory of my furniture and I measure it and I have it on an Excel spreadsheet. So that way, when I go to our next house, you're going to think I'm crazy. When I go to my next house, I know measurements of our couch or a hutch or a desk or our beds, like all of that. And so each move I update it so that way I know what we're moving with, or at least like the expensive pieces, right? So I'm an inventory type person. Over the years, I've used all different types of duct tapes and Sharpie markers. And that was really the genesis of creating the Stressless PCS Kit, is because I was so sick of spending all the money on all these materials. And then I said, that's it. I'm going to invest some of my business, finances into hiring a creative director and like helping me put this concept into execution. And so I label everything and I communicate with the moving crews on both sides. And also with my service member or spouse and any family member who helps us on either side of the moves. There's always open communication so everyone knows my plan. Because I feel like if they don't, then it takes so long, and then I'm chasing after toddlers and kids, and it can just become a mess very quickly. So, right? I mean, I know you just went through this and it's painful. So
I would never have thought until this move to measure my couches and stuff.
Right.
Because we moved from a small apartment in Colorado, found out we were pregnant, bought a house. Then we find out we're PCSing to Germany. We're going literally from a nearly 4,000 square foot house to an 11 square foot stairwell with no garage or anything. And so we just knew we had to leave half of our crap behind for it to even fit in the apartment. And now we're back up to double the square foot of the apartment. Every time we move, we expand and we contract, and the houses are never the same size. And just, you never know what you're going to get.
I feel your pain.
So I really do. It's not like I throw away the couch every time I move. I kind of have the same couch, and to know how large it is and where to, like this time, to try to better prepare. I was pregnant and I couldn't do any moving things around. I had tried to say, like, sketch out on a piece of paper where the couch and stuff like that was going to go, and so that I could direct the movers better. And I gave my husband the schematics, but had I known the measurements,
I go, Jamie, as far as getting blue painter's tape. Oh gosh, my OCD is like really going to shine right here. But again, I'm so into like being efficient with time. That's the thing, right? Time is such a hot commodity with, we don't have endless amounts of it. And when we know we only have a certain block of time, like I want to make sure everyone knows what's happening. So I'll buy like blue painter's tape from a Walmart or a hardware store, and I will literally map out where the couch goes. And if we get our house the day before the moving company comes, that's when I'll go in and spend like an hour or two just mapping out the big furniture pieces. And so that way, when the crew comes, I'm like, all right, get the big pieces out first and lay them down, and then just put the boxes around it. And then I also have started to use a strategy of having them unpack certain rooms. So, and I don't know if you all did that to Fort Hood, but they can do that. And so the kitchen is one area that I always want them to unpack, because it has the most paper and the most boxes. So I'll get little Post-it notes and I'll put on the cabinets where the mugs are going, or the cups or the pots and pans, like the big things. So that way I know we can get at least one room operational, especially the kitchen. Because at that point you are in transition for so many months. I mean, it's nice to kind of cook a meal, or at least have your things there to drink water, or, just enough plates, things like that.
And have you told me offline and about how you have used professional organizers before? Let's talk about that.
Oh gosh. So another thing that you will learn quickly about me is that I outsource a lot, right? We're both working full time. We have young kids. I will try to get them in. And I know outside of COVID, like this has been a really exceptional time for our community and of course our globe. But if I'm moving, I try to get the kids in daycare. I try to do all the things. Well, this move to El Paso, we came from Port Irwin, California, and moved here. And my husband was here for the unpacking of the truck and the crates. And then he left to go TDY for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get these kids in school and just trying to get it together. And I work from home, much like you do, I would imagine, in most, 99% of your time. And when we are traveling, that's a nice commodity now. But I hired a home organizer to come in here, because what I've learned is if my house is a mess and I'm not feeling organized or on top of it, then my work suffers. And I feel like our kids suffer because there's boxes and there's stuff everywhere. So I hired one here in El Paso. I hired one when we lived in Colorado Springs. And so home organization was a big key resource in the past couple moves.
Wow. Wow. I agree with the sentiment. I'm not as type A organized, list making, measured with blue tape. I like things to be nice. Like I feel less productive whenever, up until Friday.
Okay.
Up until Friday, my office was a mess. I first fixed the background so that on these Zoom chats you could see how nice it looks, right? But the rest of it was a hot mess. And I couldn't come in here and focus and be productive very much. And I'm not super type A, but I think it just, when your life is a mess, it's almost symbolic of how everything is a mess, and it's like you can't focus and do the thing that you need to do until the mess is cleaned up.
Agreed. Because the back of your mind is thinking, okay, I have the piles of papers or the toys or the trash to take out or whatever that looks like. So I think, like, if I have a clean space to operate in, if I have a clean home, then it clears the clutter in my brain to operate at its optimal capacity. So if I can hire and outsource an expert to create that vibe for us in our home and to like get the systems and processes in place, because every home is new, then I'm going to do it, because it's going to help me in the long run, and my husband and my kids. So
I needed what I needed, because I've destroyed my walls in some places, was like a professional picture and curtain hanger upper.
Yeah, handyman. You need a handyman.
I have these huge holes in my walls in some places where you try to use the stud finder and you think you're on it. And let me just show you one example in the office. There's my cat bridge. And
wow.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to aim my whole laptop. There's like an inch to the left of one of those screw holes is where I destroyed my wall, and the stud wasn't there where I thought it was.
I see it, but I love your cat bridge. I didn't even know that was a thing. But we don't have cats. You have cats, clearly.
I have one cat, and he jumps on my printer every time it's on. So this is my solution, but it didn't. He still jumps on it. So
got it.
But it's like called the Indiana Jones cat bridge. I just thought it was super nerdy and cool, and not in my background all the time. You can see the thing he uses to jump on it, but
no, that's fine. How old is your cat, and how long have you had him or her?
His name is Vader, like Darth Vader, and he is, I guess my dog is about to be 6, so that makes my cat 5. They're about a year apart.
Oh, you have dogs and cats.
How
did they do in the move?
So my cat's fine. He loves me. He's moved a lot. He likes the adventure. My dog, I have a huge dog. I have an Irish Wolfhound. He sucks at moving. He's got such bad separation anxiety that he has to do flights or whatever, and he gets separated from us. He's just not good traveling. And so the funny story about my dog is, when we first got here, we'd been living in stairwell apartments. That means the dog had to go out on leash with us to go potty for 3 years, right? We get here to Texas, we have a backyard for the first time in a while. And so we leave the door open and forget about him, That's
I love it. It's like
the first night we got into our house, because we were in a hotel for a couple of weeks waiting on housing. We left the dog outside the whole night. We forgot about him.
Oh, that's okay. Was he okay? Did he just sleep by the back door?
Well, he slept a lot, but I feel like every time there was commotion, he was howling. So the next morning, I'm on Facebook checking all the Fort Hood spouse pages and making sure nobody nasty grammed about our dog howling. And thank God, right across the street from where I'm at, somebody had a huge house party and had like super loud music on. And everybody was complaining about the music and not my dog. So that was good.
Good.
Like, you're safe. In the backyard, and he's never slept outside before until then. He's almost 6 years old, and
that's okay. You have a lot going on. You know what? It becomes like priorities. Like keep the baby alive, keep your toddler alive, and everyone else can fend for themselves.
Yes, that's right. You know, and I'm like, my parents, we grew up with outside dogs, and I've never, this huge furry gray rug of a dog, he has never slept outside, and anyway, it was
all good.
Horrible, but then now it's funny, so it's okay.
It's all good. We're past it. You got it. Well, hey, I have a question for you, because I love connecting with other spouses, females who are making it work and who are creating great businesses and servicing our community in a very different way. So tell me about how you are able to manage it all. You're running this amazing business, Begin Within, and you are doing such great outreach to our community. You're sharing resources. You're like a very big spotlight for spouses and veterans who are looking for employment opportunities, the gainful and fulfilling employment opportunities. So tell me how you're doing this.
The ugly way.
Yeah, all the ways.
Some of the best advice I ever heard was, there's a gentleman named Chris Chrismatos. He is the founder of PodFest.
Okay.
I heard him give a speech at the Military Influencer Conference, which is now the namesake of his book. But the advice he gave was called Start Ugly.
Okay.
And that's how I do it. My office, the background is nice, but the rest of it's a mess, right? Until Friday when I had photos done in here. And just, to me, I do whatever I can. Like during this PCS, I pre-batched whatever work I could.
Okay.
I outsourced things to a VA. I have a team that helps with business development and stuff like that for business purposes. But, you know, quite frankly, I took a break.
I love that.
Yes, was hard. I had pre-made what I could to fill in that break with some content, some material. But I took a little bit of a break, and my son's 2 months old now. We've been here about 2.5 months because I moved that pregnant. And I took a little bit of a break. I needed to. I couldn't have possibly done it when the boxes were neck high.
No.
It was an ugly time. So
but I really want to compliment you for taking a break.
Instagram world, and you know, we put out pretty pictures, but the life is ugly in the background.
Oh yeah.
Don't let the internet fool you. People that are going through this, it is ugly. Do not let them fool you.
Don't they call it like the highlight reel on social media? You know what I mean? Like it is, it's unbelievable. I want to compliment you real quick because I think it's important to really point out that you took a break, and because oftentimes it's very hard to do that. But the thing is, you took a break from your business, but everything else in your life was firing on all cylinders. So it's not even like you took a full break. You know what I mean?
Well, I took a business break.
You took a business break, yeah.
Yeah, and some of it, a little bit was a forced business break. Let's be honest. COVID-19 hasn't been good for anyone's business, I'm sure. And so there was just not as much business to have during that time, and it made me kind of have to take a break, which I wanted to break anyways, to sort of be home with my newborn.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was a really ugly time, and I took a break. And then right now I'm getting back into it a little slower than I would like because of the pandemic, but hey, we're making it work. And yeah, I don't get cross-interviewed a lot on these. But
sorry about that. No, but I also want to say that I hear you with COVID on my businesses it was very interesting. On the Stressless PCS Kit side, people were buying them, and that was really neat to see because they didn't know if they were going to do it themselves. They didn't know if they were ordering pods to ship. But they wanted that extra organization and that efficiency. So on that side of the business, I felt like it was incredible because people felt a need for that product, and I've received a lot of great feedback on it. So I'm excited about that. But on the consulting side, I had several clients who put a stop on our work. So global businesses who I work with in support of their veteran or military initiatives, they said, hold on, like we got to focus internally within our company. And then we'll come back to you once things start to even out and level out. And so both of our boys were home with me from March until June. And I even flew home to Florida during the pandemic because I needed help, because the school shut down and everything here was on lockdown. And so I flew home with my boys during the pandemic, much like you flew across the globe. And so, because I still had clients that I was servicing and I didn't know how to manage that while the military's mission was still ongoing. And so my husband was still going to work. They were still flying missions. And although they slowed down a little bit for a little bit of time, once they figured out what the parameters are, for how they're operating, like, I don't know, it was a really, really hard time. So now, and since June, our boys have gone back into the Child Development Center on Post. And with schools closed everywhere, our 6-year-old started first grade, and the school age center on Post is helping him facilitate what that looks like every day. And so I can work, and my husband, he's TDY now, and he's got lots of trips and trainings in the fall. And so it was a tough season for many of us. And I was scared my business was going to fail. Like it got to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a failure, but nothing could have prevented it. And I finally came to realize it's not me. It's what's happening around the globe. Everyone is dealing with this.
Yep. It's so tough. And this is something to say, I always love to say,
okay,
please support your military spouse-owned businesses.
Right?
You know what? You can go and shop for stickers on Amazon, right? That say,
yeah.
Or you can support
your
business, right?
Thank you.
And to me, it's like even a tiny bit of business given to a small business makes a huge difference in somebody like our worlds. Like just the tiniest amount of business can keep somebody afloat through a tough time. It really can. So support your small businesses that are owned by military spouses, please.
Amen. Yes, that's wonderful.
We want to wrap up here. We're kind of running up on time, but more importantly, CC, you have a lot going on with your businesses. Tell us what's coming up. What kind of events do you have? What are you trying to promote? I like to give you a moment towards the end of our chat to kind of plug what you've got coming up so we can support you.
Oh, goodness. I feel like, so 2 separate businesses, Military Quality of Life Consulting. We are working with some great organizations, and I'll give them a shout out real quick because they're incredible. The Alabama Military Stability Foundation. So if you're PCSing to the state of Alabama, check them out. And the Heroes Welcome Initiative, which is a big push under the Lieutenant Governor's office to support families who PCS into Alabama. So check them out. Heroes Vodka is another great client of mine who I work with their corporate philanthropy, both monetary and product donations, and they are amazing. So check them out. Powell Strategies is also a client where we're doing a lot of outreach on behalf of the Department of Veteran Affairs, and they're partners with Rheingold. And so we're sharing resources called for Make the Connection and focusing on health and wellness and mental health and wellness within our veteran and our family space. And finally, the last client I have there is Apollo Global Management, and we're working with them and their portfolio companies on how do we hire, retain military connected talent within their talent acquisition pipeline. So we've got a lot of great clients there. You can check us out at mqolc.com. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn. On the Stressless PCS Kit side, our website is that at stresslesspcskit.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and we're just hoping to help military families move. We're looking at building out an affiliate partnership. So if there's any spouses or spouse-owned companies who want to join us in that and be an affiliate of the company to help families move, I would love to open the conversation. So that's what's going on in my world. It's day to day here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, CC. All of those links that we mentioned, there was quite a number of them throughout our
Oh,
chat.
yeah.
I will drop them in the comments of our video so that you can find them. But so much, thank you so much for your time, CC.
Oh,
It's been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful chatting with you, and I've really enjoyed it. So everyone else,
I
thank you.
appreciate you so much. Yeah.